Hi, everybody. This is Chris.
This is Matt.
This is Beachhead. This is not a review.
Never.
Never a review. This is, we played a game for a month. In this case, a short game. Really didn't even play it a month. Played it a couple days. I finished it, so I feel like I've had enough time with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hot take on these games.
Played it a lot as a kid, too, so that's some of it. We
Yeah,
don't
this was
script
my
any of
first
this. Oh, what?
it was my first experience with it.
Yeah.
So it was interesting.
No, we don't script anything. We're not shooting for a length of time. I got a feeling this one won't go long. Of course, I've said that like a zillion times. We still land right around an hour usually for some reason.
Yeah.
But just two friends talking about a game they recently played. In this case, again, the game is
Beachhead.
Beachhead.
1983. It looks pretty good for 1983, I thought.
It looks pretty good for 1983. They did a good job with the graphics.
The tanks look like tanks. The mines look like mines. The weird guns on stilts look like weird guns on stilts.
Machine gun nests, but okay, yes.
Whatever.
Whatever. A giant turret at the end that kind of blasts you. I'll get it started going here.
Yeah, let's get the video going. This is Access Software, who I know from golf games.
Right, that was their big thing. They did mostly was links.
Yeah, that was in the early '90s, right? '93, I think.
Through the whole '90s, and he
into
kept
the
going.
2000s. Yeah. But their first golf game came out in '86.
Yes.
So they have a heritage of golf games at Access Software.
No, like that, if you look at their history, it's almost all links. It's almost all links. It's also the only golf game I ever really got into for a while. For a while, I just couldn't get enough playing golf links for like a year.
Right? Who knew?
I
played a lot of Mario Golf on the NES. That was a lot of fun, I think. Either that or I just had it.
Either I had it. Well, we've talked about this before. There's only so many games you can have, and then you got to play them.
Right. You play them.
And with Nintendo, it's not only games you have, but it's like games you have to go to the rental store, and they've only got 5, and one of them sucks, and the good one's out, and you're going to be playing Deadly Towers for the weekend because that's all they had.
Yep. Yeah, I've rented many a gas station Nintendo game with varying results, usually not great. So anyway, now that we've talked over the first screen of this game is air reconnaissance, in which you don't really do anything but choose the path that you're going to take, which kind of sets you up for which minigame, if you're going to play this minigame, really.
Right, that's the choice. Is do you want to try and play this minigame? If you don't, you have to shoot down more planes on the next minigame.
Yeah, so this game's like 6 minigames, basically, strung together, kind of coupled together in a way that impressed me. And this is the first one, so you can skip this and you can go right to the next one, which we'll see in a minute. But I thought this one was one of the more fun mini games because it has that quality of a slow motion car wreck with these torpedoes shooting at you. I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna hit it. I gotta do something. I gotta do something. Oh, I hit it.
Because you'll notice, like when I stop, I don't stop. You gotta pull back on the stick, and then it starts to slow down, and you like skid into wherever you're going.
Right.
But yeah, you're dodging mines and torpedoes through this like canyon. I want to double back here for a second and talk on something I kind of talked to you about a little bit before this. And you're talking about the 6 mini games, and this kind of impressed you for the time. I've said over and over again that like the genres of games are like 75 to 85, 85 to 95. And I feel like this game has more in common with, something from 78 than it would from 88. But you can definitely see, because it's close to that transition period, where things are changing. This has the arcadey lives and score, and it's a bunch of mini games strung together, a barely cohesive story, like the beginning of let's do more than just play games is starting to take form. But this is mostly a bunch of arcade games.
Right. And this is 83.
Right.
So you're right. It's on that transitional period where there's some plot. Like, this is a game about storming a beachhead, and most of the game is getting to the beachhead.
Right.
So there is a kind of a narrative arc, and the number of ships you have seems to be persisted through that arc, and it ties it all together in a way that you might not have in games earlier than this, and then you can kind of see how that stretches into the future, where you have real solid plot
where there's
arcs.
an attempt to really like incorporate more of the game as a whole cohesive experience and not just it's a bunch of arcade stuff, we're fine. The other thing that this came to me last night, and I don't think I've talked to you about this yet, but it was because of this game. So also, side note, we go off topic. But not really, because this is the game that made me think of it. Can you name a video game genre that came into existence after 1995?
MOBAs.
Do you count MOBA?
I do.
You count it as a genre?
I do, yeah, because there's a bunch of them. There's that one that everyone plays, and there's that one that almost no one plays that I played a little bit. The MOBAs. I think that might be the only one, though, that I can readily
considered
name.
it like a subgenre of RTS.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong on that, because I know it came out of that. But I'll give you MOBA. But like everything else.
Sorry, I rarely get a win on these discussions. But yeah, you're right. Like we pretty much nailed down what the games were going to be like in the 80s. And then, there's like VR and stuff now.
But that's a delivery system. You'll play a role-playing game as a VR game. You'll play like some people will even say MMOs, although those came up before 95. But MMO is still that's why you have to do MMORPG. It's a delivery system for the genre. VR would be a delivery for the genre.
Yeah, for the most part, I agree. Except that there's some games that are like just to showcase VR, and you could make an argument that those are kind of their own
there's a VR
genre. Yeah, and then there's stuff like Papers, Please too that are more like artistic games. I don't know if you can really lump those into a genre.
I was gonna say I don't know that you can call that a genre until there's several of them. There might be some experimentation still going on, but an actual brand new genre.
Yeah.
Like the latest one I was thinking of was rhythm games, and Parappa the Rappa is the early ones of those. And you can even see before that with games like Decathlon, where you had to tap things in rhythm and stuff like that.
Right.
There's some... And I think this is why a lot of us go, gaming was better back from like 85 to 95. Because that's when all these genres came into existence. It was pretty heavy arcade up to 85, and then after 85, people kind of went nuts and just invented all kinds of new genres.
Right.
From like action RPGs like Diablo to first-person shooters to just different tactical and strategy and God games. And it's just every year it felt like there was a brand new way to play video games. And we haven't seen that in 20 years.
Right. Right now, it seems like we're getting entrenched in intellectual properties instead of genres with like Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty or those kind of long staying.
Right. Well, yeah, because we've moved like you've got 85 through 95, which is this sort of MTV era of gaming where it's just experiment. No one knew what did and didn't work, and by 95. 96, everything's been sort of honed into a perfect package. And that's why like through 96, 97, at the sort of tail out of that era, you're getting games like TIE Fighter, one of the best space sim strategy ones there is. You're getting Master of Orion 2. That thing's, I don't find it exciting, but you cannot deny it's solid. You've got these games that are just this distilled perfect version of a game, and then everything else is building off that. And then, so that's what you had through 95 through 2005 is just honing that. And then 5 through 15 is just making everything networked. The internet took off. We're going to do everything we just did, but we're going to let you play with friends.
Right.
And then companies are like, okay, well, now that we've got the networking all built out, what if we didn't let you own the game? What if we
Right.
you're paying for your connection to the game. And so you get, games as a service, as a concept, and loot boxes and
Yeah.
all that. And then next we'll have streaming games. I would expect a good streaming service to start existing around 2004 to 2006. We'll see the first actual take on a streaming service. And that makes me super sad.
Yeah. I don't care so much about media ownership. I know a lot of people like trash talk the Kindle. I want to hold a book in my hands. And like that's fine. Like I get that notion.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of streaming gaming doesn't bother me as much.
Right.
I don't feel the need to hold an object in my hand or whatever. But I don't like being tied to providers. Like, I think because Steam is relatively good as a platform, like it's reliable. It's not all, they don't always offer the best support, but whatever.
Right.
But the point is, like, I don't like being tied to a single entity to get what I want.
I don't like losing stuff. Like, I don't like losing City of Heroes or Tabula Rasa. I don't like losing Vanguard. I don't like that there are games that are just gone. Like, we've talked a couple times, we found stuff that has come into being again on the iPhone. But now it's not. So if you didn't know about it in that little window of time, it's gone. It's just gone. And that scares me. Not on a like personal, deep, fundamental level. It doesn't scare me like, oh my God, what's going to become of us? But it scares me like, we're going to lose probably about 20 years worth of culture. Because video games are our sort of biggest cultural touchstone right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where no one's going to have a hard copy of them out in public. Like, if you want to watch the original version of Star Wars right now, the unedited, you can find it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're never going to see it in the studios or anything again. But it exists. There's a way for you to go find somebody with a copy, find it online. You can get your hands on it.
Right.
Some of these games I'm never going to get again. Some of my favorite games I'm never going to get again. And
don't you think that's inevitable with the rise of MMO RPGs and stuff, where they're gonna shut down, and like again, you're tied to a single company, and if they decide to get rid of it, like that, I think that was kind of written in stone when we all agreed that we were going to start playing MMO games. Was that this can go away? Like this is not going to last forever. I might not be playing Ultima Online in the year 2020. You know what I mean?
I can understand that with MMOs, and it makes me, sad that we lose things or that the MMOs will upgrade things. Kind of like how Warcraft for years had a pirate server going on for Warcraft Classic that someone kind of reverse engineered, or you can do UO at home, Ultima Online at home. There's a way to kind of make it work, but God, it's a lot of work. With the MMOs, with the attempts to do like a large back-end server, and they don't want to give out the server, I don't like it, but I can accept it. What I'm not liking is a lot of single-player games are also going to end up starting to go this way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to play The New Orcs Must Die, but it's
Right.
only on Stadia. And Stadia's struggling, if not already defunct by the time of this broadcast.
Right.
Okay, does it come out for this? Does it do the people who own it? Is it just gone? What's the story there? And there's something to be said for the fact that I can still go back and play Beachhead.
Right. Right. Will you be able to go back and play something that comes out, in 5 years, 25 years from now?
Right.
Probably not.
Probably not. It's going to be gone. And I wonder how many games, like we didn't discover Lords of Midnight until late.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or XCOM. Like, you introduced me to XCOM years after XCOM.
Yeah.
And I got to play it because there was still the ability to get our hands on it.
Right.
We're going to have games that maybe people didn't give a chance and died that were necessary or important or culturally significant.
Right.
But are just gone. But it also, the other side thought to all this, and then we'll get back to Beachhead, I swear, was when us old timers are going, it was better back in the day. I think that's really what we're talking about. Not the games themselves, but that experience of what new shit is going to be out tomorrow. Because it was always going to be new.
Right.
And now it's just the same.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many games now that they seem like losing one isn't a big deal.
Right.
Because like some tiny game that someone released on Steam that like 10 people played, it doesn't seem to, you don't think about that going away and that being a sad thing. But to those 5 people, it very well might be, and if they could not find that again, like that's a bummer.
Well, here's a better thing. Like, think of your shock when I showed you that version of Oregon Trail that I played.
Right. It was not what we consider okay anymore.
Well, it's not what we consider okay anymore, but the version was so different. There were so many different, how the hunting worked, how the everything worked. I had a completely different experience than you. And that was one of those things that if I didn't have it in the back of my head and just have a real bug up my butt to find it so I could show you, it's gone. Mm-hmm. It's just, does it matter that it's gone? I don't know. Maybe. I feel like it does. I feel like it should matter. And yeah. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm just overvaluing these things. But I think when so much of our economy and our culture and our everything else is spent doing this, it should be remembered and examined.
Sure.
So 1983 access software.
Our culture is doing this.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of our culture. And I think because it's so new and it happens so fast, no one thought to start doing it.
Right.
Kind of like there's a lot of early TV episodes that are just gone because they're like, tape's expensive. We need to record over this.
Yeah, right.
So, all right. I'll stop pontificating now. 1983, Access Software. They made a lot of Lynx games.
Back to where we started.
Back to where we started. Bruce Carver was the guy who made this.
Dead. Died in 2005, I believe, which is sad. I keep a mental... Anytime I encounter a new name in my life, I instantly go look up whether or not that person has died.
Well, I just love... I
think it's unhealthy.
I think it's a little unhealthy. It's a little funny. You're just like, Bruce Carver, dead. Jesus Christ.
I want to know. I want to know who's alive.
I get that, but I mean...
I want to know if I can link in with them.
A little... Well, the last person you accused of being dead, you finally ended up linking in with them.
That's true. Hi, Catherine. I know you don't watch.
You don't watch, but that's okay. Oh my God! Just the lack of solemnity. Dead.
Unceremoniously declared dead on some shitty YouTube show. Sorry, Bruce.
All right, Bruce. Especially because Bruce was pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
he sold out. He sold out. He sold access to Microsoft, so he did sell out. But a lot of the people who got let go, he paid for them to be gone out of his pocket to make sure
Yeah.
that they got covered. So like he didn't just
Severance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he didn't like well company's not covering you, that's business, you know. He took care of people, so that was nice to see when I was kind of going through the history on this.
Yeah. Yeah. That is good. You want the game designers to be good people.
You do
They often are, I find.
usually
Usually.
because you're making games, you're making something for someone else to enjoy, you're interested in someone else having a good time and feeling good.
Right.
It's hard to be a bad person and do that. So
Right.
now someone's going to link to I can immediately think of like 5 people who are, so don't bother in the comments. I'm not saying it's impossible, just
Right.
there's a demeanor. Anyway, this came out on a lot of systems. Commodore 64, Atari 8-bits, Apple IIs, Amstrads, the Spectrum, the BBC Micro, the MSX, the Acorn Electric Enterprise, Thomson MO5, and Thomson TO770. I've never tried anything on those last 2.
No. No, I've never heard of some of those.
Yeah. I played it on 3 versions. How many did you play? I heard you played it on the Apple.
I downloaded the Apple version because I have artifacting on the Commodore version that I'm playing,
Okay.
but I never played it. I downloaded it out of frustration and then just never ended up playing it.
One of the things I liked better about the Apple version is that minefield. First off, the colors are, I won't say atrocious, but man, they hurt compared to the Commodore's colors for this game. But when you hit a mine in that minefield thing, the ship explodes. Stuff goes all over the screen. It's
That's
way
wonderful.
more satisfying.
That's what you want.
That is what you want. The Atari version was pretty close to this. The planes weren't as good. And when you were on the tanks, it felt like it was night because everything was just a shade darker.
Yeah.
But otherwise, same game. It played the same. It felt the same. Whatever your particular flavor of nostalgia is, I think you'll have a good time.
You're pretty good at this. Oh, never mind. I was going to say, what happened to you there? You get to the end, and then there's like one torpedo that shoots out in the right at the end.
Right
that
at
thing
the
hit
end.
me more than any other torpedo. But the thing about it is that the torpedoes follow Space Invaders rules. There's only one torpedo from any launch point on the screen at any time.
Yep.
So if you're past it, you'll know, oh.
Yeah, I was gutsy there and went for it and shouldn't have.
In this game, you can't go backwards in any of the mini games. This is the only one where I really felt strongly that I should be able to go backwards.
Just circle back and get away from stuff like this shit. Oh!
Yep. Those are the slow motion car wreck moments that made this one of the most fun parts to me. I got way better at it as I did it, which is always a satisfying part of gaming, right? When you know you're getting better. Man, you're just getting wrecked.
This is one of my first playthroughs on this since we started it up again. So yeah, this is wrecked. But within like 2 passes of this, I finish it, and I think we've already. If you sat through my diatribe on games have changed, then you've already seen us finish it. I think it's funny we went through a whole game and got back to the screen.
Right. I wanted to say that thing about the Space Invaders rules because I thought it was really helpful to me. But I was like, we're going to circle back around on this playthrough. I know
we're going to come back.
I'll hit it next time when Chris shuts up.
God, just shut up. No one cares. We're not really even watching the show.
They just put it on when they're sleeping so they can be lulled to sleep by my soothing voice.
Is that what it is? It's not mine. I know that. I have an annoying laugh.
How many years ago did we get that comment?
Oh my God, I don't know. We've been doing this for almost 5. We're coming up on 5 next spring, so holy crap.
This is why we can never get much bigger because the mean people are out there and they're going to hit us hard at some point.
And I'm going to cry.
I
Okay,
know
graphics, my tiers, history of the game, and a diatribe about what video games are and should be. What did you think of the sound?
I liked the sound. I thought it was really good. Like,
Yeah.
the music is non-existent, which I think suits this better.
Mm-hmm.
The explosions sound cool. The planes sound cool. Everything sounds pretty good. Uh, I liked it
Yeah.
overall.
I thought
There
they
was
did a
nothing
good
that
job.
really annoyed the shit out of me.
I never wondered what a sound was.
Right.
You know, when you're back this far, sometimes that's the case. You're like, okay, they're making a beep at me to alert me of something.
Right.
Oh, we're back on the radar screen. This is one of the things that as a kid frustrated me because you come out and you see the enemy fleet starts heading at you. And I always was like, maybe I can get around the fleet. Maybe I can. You can't. It's why just make yourself sail up to it. Like, I don't. I
I
don't
feel
understand because you're giving this illusion of avoidance.
the whole map screen to me, uh, I have two feelings about it. One is that it's totally useless and serves absolutely no purpose. But my other feeling is that it's important to that feeling of tying the whole experience together and not having it be a bunch of mini games. So while it's not a great gameplay element, I think it's important to the overall
Mm-hmm.
feeling of the game. So, do with that what you will.
Yep.
This mini game kind of drove me a little bit nuts. I don't know why you have ammunition because it reloads really fast. You can't really shoot that fast.
It,
I think it was just kind of a damp squib when it comes to as a gameplay element.
it's one of those where, like, if you let yourself load up and then you get kind of close with some warning shots, you can just hold it down and do a couple rapid fires over the planes, which will help you hit. Um, but I don't know. It like I agree. It didn't need ammo.
I think that was my least favorite of the games.
I can agree with that.
And so the deal is, if you don't take the shortcut, that's the one you have to do for 1,000 years, and you'll hate yourself the whole time. So,
Yeah, the premise
you
is
know,
they've had time to prepare because you came through the main gate,
right.
and so you're going to have to deal with them head on now. Where if you sneak through. Now, I want to point something out on the screen because I didn't notice it the first time I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
The 1,600 meters short. I didn't see that for like 2 games, and that is
Right. Me too.
essential.
Each tick is 100 meters.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's I don't think it's exact. That
Mm-mm.
was my experience. That it's not exact. You still have to tune it, but I think they should not have done that because it takes away any kind of drama. Like I was having these dramatic moments where I'm like, oh shit, he shot me as I shot him, and I couldn't see if I splashed or if I overshot the ship. Like, oh, what will I ever do? Like, this is
No,
intense. But no, it's just like, oh, you're 100 meters long. Do one, adjust one, shoot, done.
I had a lot more fun before I noticed it down there. Once
Yeah,
I noticed it down there, it was just a matter of how fast could I get around the screen to do it.
right.
I wouldn't mind seeing it as a difficulty level. Like, do you want aim assist sort of thing?
Right.
We're both that and maybe the planes. Like the planes give you a like little targeting
Yeah.
reticle to help you know where to aim for, but
This is one of those times too where I think, well, it's great that they're all kind of linked together into a cohesive experience. I think they could have linked the mini games together a little more. Like, if you shoot the reconnaissance planes in
mm-hmm.
like the aircraft launcher one, it should like give you benefits in
In
future
like the tank
mini
one.
games. Yeah, I think that would have been
Yeah, one
a
more
really
step.
cool thing. Yeah.
Right. One more step would have been really nice. Can you think of anything the mine thing would have linked to other than well, I guess it lowers the planes.
Yeah, yeah. So that's like the one time it makes a difference.
Would it have been interesting or would it have been too much to put the plane on the same screen as the bombing. Like, you've got planes coming off the aircraft carrier, but you've got to lob things and try to shoot down planes. Like, you
That would
turn back
be,
far enough, it goes machine gun, and then...
yeah, that would be a lot of fun. One of my favorite games when I was a kid, I think it was Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe,
Mm-hmm.
where you have to like go between, or you can go between the different stations on like the bombers,
Yeah.
and you could have had that kind of intensity here with that idea. But yeah, that plane one I thought was a little annoying because you don't really get a crosshair. It's the planes seem to go between your elevation sometimes. I don't like that.
Yeah, your elevation might be right for the plane when it gets within range, but it's not where it is, so you still... Yeah.
I like this. The thing about this tank one too that you're on now,
Mm-hmm.
I like that you bring a set number of tanks. But I think if I get all 10 ships through, I should not get 10 tanks. I should get 100. This is really hard. Like I had a hard time with this. The one thing I don't know if I liked it, but the one thing that's definitely true is that all these objects, these long objects, are placed at an angle, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the exact angle that your tank happens to turn. So you aren't
Close.
really maneuvering. It's more of a timing thing. Like, can I hit the button at the right moment so I kind of skirt the
So here's the
obstacle?
thing. You're almost right. It's I've a couple times discovered that you turn a little steeper than those down ramps do.
Really?
Really. And I've crashed into the bottom of a couple down ramps
Huh.
because it is just a smidge steeper.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I could kind of see
Like
that.
I almost clocked it there and I had to pull out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's close, but don't trust it because I trusted it for a while and then was like, "Oh, no, that's not. Like I can't do that."
I'm a huge fan of this turret that sits on this pile of feces
Yeah.
with the light up windows. Like I don't know what's happening here, but as it turns toward you, it's a really intense.
Mhm.
And I also like that it kind of makes a statement about how futile war is because you're slogged through this minefield and it kills you every time unless you just like throw wave after wave of soldiers at it.
Yeah.
The Zap Brannigan maneuver, I believe it's called.
Right.
'Cause that's at first I was like, oh well, it shoots me. Like, how do I stop it from shooting me?
You
No,
don't.
it just shoots you. You just have to get more tanks through. I like that as a gameplay element and a message about war.
It's a learning experience and a political statement.
Right. It's a statement about the futility of war. Beachhead clearly.
Um, oh, back on the. I won't bring it up because it's kind of a tip spoiler I was thinking about for the bombing thing I had here in my notes. But
What is it? Let's do it.
okay,
I think I know.
the
I know
ships
what
are
it
all
is.
the same thing. So not only like once you figure out where it is with the rangefinder, every game, if you know that one's at 74.5, it will be there next game at 74.5.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
there's some replayability to this once you beat it, but also you gotta like put it away for a while till you forget the distances and
Right.
everything.
Well, there's four difficulty levels, but all that does is make everything happen way faster. And I was like, it was right before we played, and I was like, I got to see what the difference is. And I turned it all the way up to 4, and I couldn't get through the torpedoes in the first part. So I have no idea really like if there's any appreciable differences as you go through. But I can tell you for sure
The
it's a
torpedoes are
lot faster.
One of the things I had a problem with I did 1 and 2, and I didn't necessarily find it too much faster, but I didn't go all the way up to 4. Um, it gave me these flashbacks of like Atari difficulty levels, where it's like with Atari 4 is not necessarily more difficult than 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I don't know if one's the hardest or four's the hardest. Is game A the hardest or B the hardest?
Right.
Like, is one the one we're all expected to do, so that's normal, and then they get easier or they get harder? Or I don't know. And the manual doesn't even tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like, pick your difficulty level. Sure. I guess I'm going with one, and we'll see
Yeah.
how it goes. How did you find the controls in this? Did you find them good? Do you have any complaints, moans, groans?
Uh, they're a little, you know, they're not. It's not super responsive, but very few of these games were super responsive. Overall, it was fine. I felt like the ship going through the minefield, it made a lot of sense for that to be not responsive.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted the gun when I'm shooting the planes down. I wanted that to be way more responsive. So, you know, not like unplayable. It's fine.
Yeah, there's just a smidge of sluggishness to it that,
Yeah,
and some people might be like, well, that's just a modern emulator or something like that. But no, as a kid, it felt sluggish. It's always been one of my issues with the game. I liked the game, but it is one of those things like, man, it doesn't feel actiony enough to be a real actiony game, but it's also, there's not a lot of thought that goes into this.
yeah. This thing, like, I have no idea what the reasoning behind lighting up these windows and making me shoot them, lighting up the windows in the dirt pile. Like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but
Yeah,
whatever.
no.
It's more fun than just blasting the cannon, so we'll give it to them.
Right. It's one final, and this goes back to, it's an arcadey game, and it goes back to the earlier era of it's closer to a 78 game. It's closer to something you'd find in an arcade than something you'd find on a home computer.
Yeah.
I will say that this, to me, when I think of Commodore 64, this is one of like 5 games that I immediately go, oh, Beachhead, Raid Over Moscow, Bruce Lee, Goonies, and Impossible Mission. Like,
Yeah.
that's Commodore to me.
Yep. We haven't played Raid Over Moscow. Wasn't that also SS?
Yep, is this guy as well. Raid Over Moscow got like picketed by people who were protesting like the war and bombs and stuff back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun to go through that one. I've never finished Raid Over Moscow, so that'll be a fun one for us to go back and play sometime.
Is that another short game kind of deal?
Yeah, it's another short game. It's like this. It's a bunch of mini games
Yeah.
that you spend to like stop an evil guy on the far end.
There's a sequel to Beachhead.
There is. The Dictator Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Oh, like I love the tagline for this is the ultimate in battle action.
Yeah. That's a little more grand than it deserves, I think.
A little bit.
Self-aggrandizing.
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's
battle action.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Do you remember Battle Damage Toys?
Yes.
What a great idea.
I remember you had an idea for geriatric He-Man with battle damage hips.
Yes, I did. I regret not making that.
Yes, that needed
I
to
could
be
a millionaire and not have to do this YouTube show for candy bar money anymore.
I know.
But
I gotta send you half a candy bar.
Right. Do you enter your initials?
So funny story. You'll notice there's a couple already that are like blank. When I try to enter my initials on this, it would crash.
Oh, I think I saw that earlier. It says syntax error, right?
Mm-hmm. But if I just leave it alone, it's fine.
You know you did it. YouTube knows who it is. We all know.
We all watch.
We're all proud of you.
We all watch. All right. So, anything else you want to say on this? Any other comments, moans, groans? Want to talk about my opinions on video game eras some more?
I think we're good on that.
Okay.
I think we're good on the whole thing. I feel like we gave Beachhead a fair shake.
Yeah. It's a short game. It's a short episode.
Yeah. It A typical game lasts, I would say, about 15 to 20 minutes, as you've seen here multiple times.
Right.
And it's worth 15 to 20 minutes at least to try it and see if it's.
I would say that if you want to know like what was it like playing on the Commodore, what was a typical Commodore experience in the mid '80s, this would be one of the first ones I start with. This, then do Goonies, then probably like Way of the Exploding Fist and Impossible Mission, and you've got a pretty well-rounded 1980s Commodore experience.
Yeah. And a fun afternoon.
And a really fun afternoon. Stay away from Spellbound.
Stay away from. But that was my experience too. I didn't like Spellbound.
So let's talk about our next big game, which we're doing right now. Deus Ex.
20 years old officially, so we can do it. We can justify it.
We can justify Deus Ex. 20 years old with topics ripped from today's headlines.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, definitely enjoying Deus Ex. I'll say that now.
Yeah. All right, and of course,
Deathlord
on Thursday. We will get out of the dungeon.
Yeah, we were. I feel like every time we do this, I say this, but we got jammed up last time. we think we're going to get out. I don't think we're going to reform the party this time because we have been doing that an increasing amount. But join us for the live stream. Talk to us about whatever snacks or whatever you want.
Yeah.
Make fun of us. We don't care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fine. Tell me why I'm wrong about something. It's good.
Yeah.
Good times. So yeah, there's that, and then
the next short game.
That's right. That's what I'm here for. Terminal Velocity.
Oh, I'm a big fan. We gotta find a way to play this network sometime because I loved playing Network Terminal Velocity.
That was like 90% of my experience as younger. I won't even say as a kid, but younger me was the network stuff, and that was so much fun. So yeah, we got to figure out networked velocity.
Yeah.
But if we can, maybe we'll do a live stream of that. Just bonus live stream of network.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I would do it.
Yeah.
Do you have like a 500-mile long no modem cable? We could try it.
There's got to be some internet service that lets us do this. We'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah, that's a way better idea.
It's a way better idea. Besides, I don't want to carry it down there with COVID.
That's true.
We'll be fine. All right. Anything else before we go? It just feels weird being short, but that's okay. Short game.
Yeah, it's a short game. Short talk.
All right. We'll talk to everybody later. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Big thank you to all of you watching, sharing, liking, subscribing, suggesting games, commenting on our videos, or supporting us on Patreon. We appreciate all of your support and look forward to sharing many more videos with you. Thank you again.